You only showed up for the free food. That is what my cousin said, right in front of everyone at her rooftop party. She had no idea I was the one who paid for the entire thing, every last cent of the $31,000 it cost. I lost it inside, but I did not make a scene. I just stopped living paycheck to paycheck after that moment. I also stopped sending her $800 a week like I had been doing. I never did it to be thanked or praised. I was not expecting roses or a round of applause. But I sure as hell did not expect her to stand there with a drink in her hand, grinning like a reality show villain, and say in front of the whole party, "So, you came just for the free food, huh?" Her voice rang out over the rooftop, all syrupy and fake, and people actually laughed. Not the kind of laugh that says, "We love you," no, it was cold. It stung. It made me feel like I had just been slapped in the face. I stood there frozen, holding a $200 press-on gift I had picked up that afternoon. I looked around the table, wondering if even one person there realized I had paid for the whole evening. My cousin Linda, who lives for likes and filtered photos, just stared back at me with that same smug look she always wears. It was like she was not just making fun of me, she was trying to erase me completely. I waited. Maybe her boyfriend would say something. Maybe Aunt Olivia would speak up. But nope. No one ever does. Linda kept smiling like it was all one big joke. Like I had not spent nearly a year sending her money every single week because she quit her job to chase her influencer dream and could not handle rent or utilities on her own. I paid for everything. Her rent, her electricity, even her groceries when she would accidentally leave her wallet at home. I covered vet bills for her dog, the one she could not afford in the first place. Spa appointments, skincare treatments, everything. Even that skincare session she had just 2 days before the party? That was on me too. I covered it all. The Great Gatsby theme, the rooftop venue, the gold-lettered flower wall with her name, the balloons, the music. Even those fancy desserts that nobody could eat until she filmed a slow-motion video of herself twirling in front of them. And here I was, the uncool cousin, wearing off-brand pants, giving her a gift card inside a recycled envelope. Not glamorous. Not rich. Just a walking, talking ATM machine with a face she could ignore. I stood there with a cupcake in my hand, her laughter still ringing in my ears. I did not say a word. I gently set the cupcake down on the table, like it was the last bill I would ever pay for her. No yelling. No dramatic exit. No drink thrown in anyone's face. I just walked away. Nobody followed me. Not even Linda. And this is the same cousin who once left me 6 crying voicemails in a row because her phone bill hit $1,193.47, and she said she could not breathe from the anxiety. I paid it that night. That was just a month ago. And now, she was laughing right at me. Like I was a fool who still had not caught on that I had been taken for a ride. I skipped the cake. I ignored every text message the next day, and the day after that. But by the time 36 hours had passed, there were 14 voicemails, 3 messages, and then, just before midnight, a soft knock at my apartment door. It was light, like whoever was there was not sure I would answer. And they were right. I did not. They should be nervous. Because this time, I was not just broke, I was done. And I had more truth to tell than I ever had before. It had all started with one little request. "Hey," Linda said on the phone almost a year ago, "I know this is awkward, but I really need help with rent. Just until I get a few more brand deals. I promise I will pay you back next week." That was 11 months and 47 weeks ago. She never paid a single penny, not even a couple dollars for coffee. So why did I help her? I guess I thought family meant something. That is what I kept telling myself. But deep down, it was guilt. Guilt is a quiet poison, especially when you are the one everyone says made it out. The one with the full-time job. The one who was supposed to carry everyone else. In the beginning, it was just a little help with rent. That was all. But then came groceries. Then it was dental work. After that, it was surgery for her dog. Next thing I know, she drops her phone and starts panicking because now she cannot post photos, and that, according to her, meant she might lose followers she would have to rebuild from the ground up. She cried. I gave in. Every single week, like clockwork, $800. Sometimes even more. Meanwhile, I was living small. Real small. I drove an old Honda Civic that rattled on the highway. Ate cheap noodles 4 or 5 nights a week. I missed dinners out with friends because I could not explain why I could not split the check. And all the while, Linda was posting beachside pictures from weekend trips, videos of facials with price tags that made my utility bill look tiny, and clips from boutique yoga classes that cost $30 just to drop in. I was paying for her peace of mind. I was the one making sure her pretend perfect life on social media stayed polished. And the worst part? She acted like I owed it to her. Like me helping her out was just a role I had been assigned. "You are always so giving," she would say whenever I sent the money. That was it. No real thank you. No hint that she might try to pay me back. Just that one line, like calling me generous somehow counted as repayment. Like if she said I had a kind heart, it meant I was her personal bank now. But things started to shift about 6 weeks before that rooftop party. She called me in tears again. Full-on breakdown, saying her landlord was threatening to evict her just because she had not paid rent, like it was some huge injustice. "It's just temporary," she sobbed. "I am overwhelmed." So, I wired her $2,400 in one shot. Next morning, she posts a photo from a brand new spa. The caption read, "When the universe provides." I just sat there staring at the screen. Reread it about 5 times. That is when it hit me. I was the universe now. I was the damn vibe. That night, I opened up a spreadsheet and started tracking every dollar I had sent her over the last year. Rent, groceries, hair appointments, late-night ride shares, even that $89 order of grain-free birthday cupcakes. For her dog, mind you. By the end of the month, the total crossed $31,000. That could have paid off my student loans, booked a real vacation. But instead, I was the one quietly building the dream life she was posting about online. And after all that, she still had the nerve to call me stingy. That word, it hit harder than I expected, because it was not the first time. Once, at a backyard barbecue, I brought iced tea instead of juice. She rolled her eyes and said, "Wow, frugal and forgettable. So on brand for you." Another time, when I turned down the chance to split the bill on a birthday trip to Oaxaca City, she mumbled, "Try not to be such a miser." I let those things go. Every time. Because I thought she was going through something. Because I told myself she didn't mean it. Because I was the one with the steady job, the reliable one, the fixer who showed up when things broke. But something inside me cracked after that spa post. So when she called again, complaining her internet had been cut off, I stayed quiet. "You still there?" she asked, voice a little shaky. "I am," I told her, real slow. "But I do not know why anymore." She went quiet, then finally said, "You always help. You said you would always be there." That was all she said. No thank you. No apology. No humility. Just that, like my help was something she was guaranteed. Like she was entitled to it. That is when I saw it for what it really was. This was not about being kind. It was about being used. I was not helping anymore. I was serving. So that week, I held back the $800. Next morning, 3 missed calls. Then a message. "Hey, did the payment not go through?" My landlord stressing me out again. I did not answer. A week later, she sent a payment request on the Money app. No note. Just the number, $800. I hit reject. 2 hours later, she posted on her story. "Crazy how people disappear when you need them. Real ones do not bail." I laughed out loud. Then I got the birthday party invite. That rooftop party with the whole Great Gatsby theme? I never wanted to go. Honestly, everything in me said to skip it. But she called me directly. "I need this night to go off without a hitch," she said. "I really want you there. I mean it." So I showed up. I brought a gift. I ironed my shirt. I held on to what little self-respect I had left. And what did she do? She made a joke at my expense in front of the whole crowd. Said I was just there for the free food. Everyone laughed. Not a single person paused to think, "Wait a second, isn't that the guy who paid for all of this?" Nope. They just laughed along like I was the punchline at my own expense. Now the messages won't stop. Texts. Missed calls. Please. Because the money stopped flowing, and suddenly she has no safety net. But I am not answering. Not because of the money. It is not about the dollars anymore. It is about how much of myself I gave away trying to belong, trying to feel needed, and how done I am with selling off pieces of my soul just to be included. When she finally came to my place crying, for a second, I thought maybe she had figured it out. Maybe she finally saw what she had done. But no, she just dug in deeper. And I was the one who had to bring the whole thing to an end. The first knock came just before midnight. I sat there, still, did not budge. Then there was another knock, softer this time. Like whoever was out there was not so sure anymore. I already knew it was her, Linda. So I waited. Then she spoke. "Please. I just need to talk." Same voice I used to hear in the middle of the night when her rideshare app glitched and she didn't want to pay extra. The same voice that used to call me panicked about rent. The same voice that mocked me at her party while holding a drink I'd paid for. I opened the door. There she was, Linda. Makeup smeared, hoodie zipped up over a dress still glittering from the party, holding her heels in one hand, looking like a homecoming queen who lost the vote and wandered off after the dance. Her eyes were glazed over, lipstick smudged, but it was still her. She always knew just how to look a little broken to get sympathy. I didn't mean it, she said softly. I said nothing, just moved out of the way and let her in. She walked inside slow, cautious, like she was expecting a scolding. I had been drinking, she said. It was meant to be a joke. I didn't think it would. Stop, I said. She blinked. When you left and didn't reply, I figured you were mad. But come on, I didn't mean it like that. No, I said. You meant exactly what you said. Her mouth opened, maybe to explain herself, but I did not give her the chance. You called me stingy, I said, in front of a group of strangers. Strangers eating and drinking things I paid for. Forks with gold tips. Custom decor. Music. Everything. And they laughed along while you humiliated me. I never told you to pay for all that, she said, her voice cracking. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. I raised an eyebrow and said, Really? Let's take a look. I pulled out my phone, opened up the payment app, and held the screen toward her. Line after line, one transfer after another. $800. $100. $1,200. $36 for sushi when your card was acting weird. You never asked, I said. You cried. You begged. You pulled every emotional string you could. And when I finally stopped giving, you turned on me. You embarrassed me. She crossed her arms, suddenly putting up a wall. Why are you making this such a big deal? You earn plenty. What is a few $1,000s to someone like you? That one sentence hit me harder than I expected. Like something inside just cracked and fell apart. You know what? I said, quieter than before. Yeah, I make a solid income. That is true. And for almost an entire year, I disappeared into the background so you could live like a queen. I lived off cheap noodles while you posted pictures of seafood towers. I skipped therapy appointments so I could keep covering your bills. I held my breath while you relaxed in overpriced yoga classes that smelled like eucalyptus. Her eyes started to fill with tears. I didn't know, she said. No, I cut in. You did not care. The silence that followed stretched long and uncomfortable. Then she whispered her go-to line. But we are family. You said you would never turn your back on me. There it was, the manipulation I had heard so many times before. I said I would support you, I replied. I never said I would erase myself for you. She looked down at her feet. Then, still trying, she asked, So what now? You are done with me? After everything? Everything. I said. You mean after draining my savings and mocking me in public? Or the part where I only existed when your rent was due? Her jaw tightened. You are being ridiculous. Perfect, I said, taking a step closer. Then maybe for once, I am speaking in a language you understand. That stunned her. She actually backed away a little. Oh, so now you think you are better than me? She snapped. No, I said, calm as ever. I just think I finally see who you really are. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, but nothing came out. So I kept going. You stood up there in front of a crowd and made me the joke. You humiliated the one person who has stood beside you from the very start. And now you expect a few tears and a sad face to reset the clock? Like none of it happened. She swallowed hard. I just need a little help, just this month. My rent is already overdue and Absolutely not, I said. No hesitation. My voice was steady and firm. Her eyes got wide, like nobody had ever told her no before. I walked over to the door and pulled it open. You are not my responsibility anymore, Linda. That chapter is finished. Her mouth trembled. But there is no one else I can ask. You had me, I said, and you laughed me out of your life. She stopped in the doorway, looking like she was caught somewhere between heartbreak and fury. Then she clutched her bag, turned around, and stormed off, mumbling something under her breath as she disappeared down the hall. I shut the door, turned the lock. Then, without even thinking twice, I shut off my phone. No more money transfers. No more guilt-driven messages. No more pretending that being used is the same thing as being loved. I had always thought I would feel ashamed when I finally cut her off. Like I would be drowning in guilt. But the only thing I felt? Freedom. And what shocked me even more than the silence that followed was how fast she tried to come crawling back. At first, the quiet felt strange. No notifications. No frantic late-night voicemails. No over-the-top text full of heart emojis and that tired little phrase, just one last time. For the first time in almost a year, my phone stayed quiet. No messages. No notifications. Just stillness. And honestly, I thought it would hit me like a wave of guilt. I figured I would lie awake wondering, is she doing all right? Did she come up with rent? Did her dog get fed? Is she out there posting one of those vague guilt trip quotes to reel me back in? But none of that came. What hit me instead was relief. Pure and sharp. Like somebody finally peeled off a weight I did not even know I had been carrying. I cleaned up my apartment. Took care of my bills. Had money left over. Real money. Money I could actually use for me. I bought real food, without needing to first subtract $800 from my monthly budget to float Linda's lifestyle. I even booked a therapy session, the one I had been putting off for over 6 months. Still, nothing from her. No calls. No texts. Not a peep from her mother either. Not a single word from her clingy, always asking for something group of friends she kept around like her own personal audience. Then day 8 rolled around. That is when the pattern started up again. First, it was quiet. A quote she shared on social media, cutting people off does not make you strong. It makes you cold. Then came the photo. Her face a little swollen, makeup perfectly ruined, curled up in a soft throw blanket, like she had hired sadness as a stylist. The caption read, "Some people only care when you're useful." I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck in the back of my head. Then came the first message. "I'm not going to chase you, but I'm really hurting. I didn't think we'd end like this." I ignored it. The next day, "Can I come over? I just want to talk. Please. I want you to understand." Still nothing from me. And then, like clockwork, it all ramped up. That Saturday, I ran into her mom, my aunt, at the grocery store. "Well, look who's still alive," she said, loud enough for the entire checkout line to hear. She gave me that icy smile. "Linda says you've been avoiding her." I did not say a word. Just paid for my stuff and left. By Sunday, Linda changed tactics. "Look," she wrote, "I know I messed up. I didn't mean to hurt you." I panicked. Everyone was watching, and I thought a joke might lighten things up. "You matter to me. You always have. Please do not shut me out." I stared at the screen for a solid minute. Then I did something I had not done in ages. I put the phone down. I left the house. Took a walk. Bought a cup of coffee. Sat on a bench in the sun with a paperback. And for the first time in so long, I did not feel like I owed anyone anything. No pressure. No weight. No invisible job as her emotional janitor. But of course, Linda was not done. The messages kept coming. Then a call. Then a voice note. It started calm, then unraveled into crying. This was no longer about money. It was about power, and she could feel it slipping away from her grip. By the next evening, she made her last play. Showed up at my apartment again. But this time, she brought backup. Her boyfriend, Linda, with his do-it-yourself charm and handmade everything, stood behind her like he did not know where to look. The same guy who laughed when she cracked that joke. The same guy who watched me leave that rooftop party like I was nobody. Now here they both were, standing at my door. "We just want to explain," she said, voice low, like she had rehearsed it. I did not even let the door swing open all the way. "You already had your moment," I said. "Up there on that rooftop, in front of all your guests." "I didn't mean it," she whispered. "No," I replied. "You did. And I meant mine too." I was done. Linda finally looked me in the eye. "Listen, man, she's been falling apart. Not sleeping. She's really not doing okay." I tilted my head slightly. "Did she cry this hard when she stood next to you and called me stingy in front of a room full of people?" He had no answer. I kept going. "You two have each other now. Let her figure it out. Or don't." But I'm done being the villain in a story where I was the only one giving, just to make someone else feel comfortable. Then I closed the door. Not with anger. No yelling. No slamming. Just a firm, steady close. That's what it feels like to finally draw a boundary. Later that night, I picked up the birthday gift I had taken to her party, the one that sat untouched on the table, and dropped it in the trash. It felt like throwing away the evidence of a scam I never agreed to be part of. And oddly enough, I did not feel guilt. I felt clean. Final update? I ended up sharing the whole thing online. Not to get sympathy. Not to go viral. Just to breathe. 7 days after I walked away from Linda for good, I did something I never thought I would. I posted the entire story on Reddit. I used a throwaway account, nothing tied to me. The title was simple. I sent my cousin $800 every week for almost a year. She called me cheap at her birthday. I walked out without saying a word. No clickbait. No hashtags. Just the truth. And it blew up. By the end of the first day, the post had tens of thousands of upvotes. Thousands of replies. People were dissecting it like it was an episode from a messy family drama. I had not planned it. I did not even fully know why I posted it. Maybe I just needed to find out if I was the crazy one, or if she really had been that heartless. Reddit made it clear. The top comments pulled no punches. She is not your cousin. She's your emotional leech. You made the right call, no question. $800 a week? You're a saint. I would have launched the cake at her head. Then the deeper responses started rolling in, the ones that hit harder than I expected. Why did you keep sending her money for so long? What were you really trying to get from her? Are you sure this wasn't about trying to win love? And the toughest one. What made you think you deserved to be treated like that? That one stayed with me. Because it was real. I was not just being kind. I was chasing something I had never really had: belonging. Linda had always been the star of the family. The charming one. The favorite. Even as kids, she lit up every room. And I was always the other one. Quiet. Plain. The cousin who brought the extra school supplies. Helping made me feel seen. And when you grow up invisible, being needed can look a lot like being loved. But it wasn't. It was manipulation. It was a 1A street dressed up as connection, staged perfectly for Instagram. Once I saw it for what it was, I could not unsee it. So, I posted a follow-up. I wrote, I have read all your comments, some kind, some brutal, some completely wild. And here's what I've learned. I kept giving because I wanted to believe someone could need me that much and still love me. But real love doesn't silence you. It doesn't mock you in public. It doesn't treat your generosity like a monthly subscription. And no, I was not in love with her. I just wanted to matter to someone. Now, for the first time in my life, I matter to myself. That one paragraph hit 40,000 upvotes in a single day. People quoted it, shared their own stories, messaged me privately. This made me cry in my office break room, one person wrote. Just cancel the automatic payment I set up for my sister. Thank you. I finally told my mom no for the first time in my life. Of course, not everyone agreed. Some said I sounded bitter. Others accused me of wanting attention. Main character energy from someone who's never been told no, one person wrote. Maybe they were right. But if standing up for myself makes me the lead in my own life, then I will take it. I spent too long living in the background while other people got to make a mess and expect me to clean it up. No, I don't send money out of guilt. I don't reply to late-night breakdown texts like I'm customer service. I don't keep my phone on high alert like I'm waiting for another emergency. I take walks. I cook. I rest. A few weeks ago, Linda reached out again. She wrote, I miss how things used to be. Before everything changed. I did not write back. Because whatever this has turned into, it is the most peaceful my life has ever been. Do I forgive her? I don't know. Some days, I think maybe I do. But then I remember the look on her face when she called me cheap, after I held her life together for nearly a year, and I realized she didn't just take my money. She tried to take my pride, too. And that's something I will never let anyone borrow again. So here I am, typing all this out, watching strangers scroll through my story like it is fiction. Some cheer. Some cringe. Some say I made it up. Others say they see themselves word for word. Maybe that is why I wrote it, so someone out there, drowning quietly while smiling, asking themselves if saying no makes them the bad guy, can finally breathe again. And I do not claim to be wise, but one question still echoes in my mind. If someone only cares when you are useful, did they ever care at all?